Okay, under new business, is there a contractor here for the Beltway?
Representative from Mercedes, who's going to be doing the work, is here. Desires to approach the board on their progress with this new Beltway project.
Actually, I'm with the Turnpike Commission,
Oh,
and so I'd like to introduce the people that are here with me this evening. Sure. I see behind you over there, you've got one of our renderings of proposed routes for the expressway. We do have with us tonight final maps of the route of the expressway. By the way, my name is Mike Hauser. I'm a project manager for the Turnpike Commission, and I will be the project manager on this particular project. With me tonight, just to give you a little background, behind the wall here is Dave Williams. Dave Williams is with Michael Baker Engineers. They are the design managers for the entire project from 22 to 79. So we do have a specific route picked out. We do have consultants on board, design engineers on board to design the remainder of the highway. But what we're here to talk about specifically tonight is this, at the end of the present Findlayville connector at 22 and 576, we've got a contract that we just recently awarded to Mercedes Corporation to complete the mainline bridges over 22. So right now, if you're familiar with it, if you're coming from the airport, you go over a ramp bridge. To get on, you get on a ramp bridge. What this contract is going to do is just build the two bridges that'll take main line and continue it across 22 and continue it in that direction.
I don't want to put the easel up because there isn't a whole lot of room, so.
And back here, we've got a lot of mics with us tonight. This is Mike Moorman. Mike Moorman is, he works for CDR McGuire. And CDR McGuire, the Turnpike has hired them to be our construction managers. So Mike and his team will be out in the field actually monitoring and inspecting the construction that Mercedes does. Mike Little, because we're a team of Mikes here, Mike Little is with Mercedes, and he is the project manager. As you can see, to the left of the board, we've got our two interchanges, our two toll plazas there. Main line is going to continue toward the red. What you see in red is actually the two bridges going over 22. And so when this project is done, basically you're going to just have two bridges out there. They don't connect to anything. But we had to start someplace. So that's why Dave Williams is here. If you have any questions, I don't know if you have the time tonight, but we do have a rendering of the entire project that takes you over to 79. And if you have any specific questions about that, Dave can answer those. But I'm going to let Mike just, as part of the Turnpike Commission's policy, we try to conduct a good neighbor policy. So we actually put it in our contract that it's specifically in there that the contractor needs to come out and meet with the township or township representatives and explain what they're going to do. So there's no surprises out there. So that's what Mike is doing. He's taking care of that piece of his contract. So I'm going to let Mike talk to you about specifically what Mercedes will be doing for the next year and a half out here.
Might you want to speak to this, or?
We can.
I'll try to hold it up all by myself.
Real quick, a quick overview of the job. Like Mike had said, we're building the two mainline bridges for the new Southern Beltway 576 that's going to eventually connect down towards Cannonsburg, which Dave is going to speak of. The scope of the project is just the two bridges, 784-foot long, 4 spans, crosses over Old Steubenville Pike, the existing turnpike ramps off of 22 onto 576, as well as 22. The first part of the project, 150,000 yards of fill has to be brought from this vicinity of the job, and that's going to be excavated and hauled over there to build the new bridge abutment that's going to be elevated over the existing ramps. There's not really a whole lot to it. There's going to be some blasting down along Main Line because it is rock, and that's going to allow us to borrow that material to build that fill. Like Mike said, no mainline paving or anything to that effect. There will be detours over the summer when that steel is going to be erected. There's no other safe way to perform the work. And Aside from that, that's about the scope of our contract.
So you're gonna fill that valley in across there?
We are not, we're only building you see where the blue lines are?
Yes.
The grade lines? We're only building a fill to place the abutment. Eventually, and Dave could speak more of that than I could, that corridor is going to be carried on through.
But there will be blasting associated with this, and we will have 15-minute stoppage, not stoppages, but paces conducted by Pennsylvania State Police in conjunction with the Turnpike Commission's maintenance personnel and Mercedes people. So you will see, probably starting tentatively,
We were saying February 18th, but given the weather as it's been, it might push out another week.
and those will be Monday through Friday. They'll only be through daylight hours. None of that will take place on the weekends.
Nothing during rush hours, during lunch hours, but it's relatively quick, and if you didn't know what was going on, you wouldn't know what was going on. It's
Roughly how
much
long
ado
are you
about
looking at?
nothing.
How much time roughly could be done? Just ballpark?
The contract is through May of 2015. Realistically, we're going to be building the abutment fill here in the spring portion of the job, carry on through the substructure construction all summer long to erect the steel towards the end of August, 1st of September, get the decks on, and then complete the job out between the fall of this year and the spring of next.
When we erect the steel, we will have stoppages on 22, but we have restrictions in there that can't interfere with anything that's going on. Any event in the area, again, those can't be done at night or on weekends, so it's pretty restrictive as to when those can happen.
You had mentioned about the detour. Where is the detour going?
It's a detour, but it actually utilizes the existing ramps coming off of 22. So
Okay.
when we're working over 22, the traffic will carry up on the ramps and go around, and vice versa.
And what we will be doing too, they're probably conducting them shortly, is there are pre-blast surveys for any properties that fall within our blasting range. The company will go out and actually meet with those property owners, do a survey of their homes, take photographs, document it, and then we do that and then we'll do that afterwards too. If they're on well water, we will test the well water, check, make sure everything's working there properly, or if it's not, we know up front that it isn't, and then we'll conduct a post-survey after that also.
Is the intent to be on dirt after you get across the highway? I mean, is that the plan, that they're gonna fill that in, or are you gonna be in the air like a monorail all the way across that ravine? That's a big ravine.
It's pretty much on piers. It's, as you said, how long is it, 700?
Are you asking
No,
about
I'm
our
talking-
job or the
I'm
future?
talking about the turnpike, you're the turnpike.
Yes.
Okay. Beyond the bridge, that's what I'm saying, are you intending to fill that in and be ground level with it?
That would be a question I'd have to go back with Dave here, because he's working with the designers to design that.
I was just curious, when you
Yeah.
said you were gonna put an abutment with the bridge over it, I didn't think it was gonna continue in the monorail style.
That'll be the
across
next,
valley.
that's not part of this immediate
Right.
contract. That's
Down the
in
road.
future.
Okay.
Let's start right here.
What's your radius for blasting?
1,000 foot. Sir?
You gentlemen make provisions to miss that hazardous waste dump that's on the other side of that bridge where you're building, the old Pittsburgh Industrial Waste Site?
Yes.
Okay, so you're aware of it then?
Oh, yes, yes.
Okay.
In fact, I think it's probably on the map behind you.
Right.
That looks like a plate from the environmental
Yeah.
document.
But you're going to be going to the right of it then, am I
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay, so you're not going to disturb that site at all then? Okay, thank you.
And again, as we continue forward, we'll be back to see you. And the other thing that Mike has with him tonight is a contact list to leave with you or anyone that would like it. And, you know, we've got it in order of if something goes wrong, first call the contractor. Not that we pass the buck, but they're required to have people 24 hours a day to respond to that. Then it'll go down to Mike's team, and my name is on there also. My name's at the bottom. It's my cell phone number. It answers all the time. You know, we're here to build a highway and hopefully bring more progress to the community. And yes, sir.
I was going to say, you mentioned that But you guys have an updated map. I'd suggest the supervisors ask for a copy. That
We-
was from 2005.
Yes.
In fact, that document shows the different alignments.
Right.
The final alignment was approved in '08.
Right.
We were back here in '08, '09 timeframe to advise the township as to the preliminary design. That was then approved in 2010. Then the project was put into suspense because of funding. We now, in 2012, started up again, and with the transportation bill passed in November of 2013, there's funding identified for construction of the project. The alignment, real quick, the alignment looks very much like the environmental alignment. There's very, very little change to that. That, if you compare that drawing or that board to what's on the wall, it's very, very similar. I have some, I don't know if I have enough for everybody here tonight, but we have an extra copy of that. I'm
Yeah,
assuming
we're
the
going to leave
township
this
can have
with you.
this.
This is yours, and Dave has some smaller versions of this that we'll also leave with you.
The color variations, is that stages or?
Those are different design limits. Those are not necessarily construction limits. But
point
you
out
can
the
see in the
little
far
bridge on
left,
there, the first contract.
Yeah,
on
but-
it.
what's the A1-1? Go
Frame
ahead.
of reference right here is 22,
There you go.
and this is the bridge that was shown in a larger scale, existing 576 here, and then continuing on through the ravine, and you can see that, at least right now in plan, is on a fill, not on bridge structure. But this is the project that we're talking about and that we're starting right now, due to be complete May 22nd, 2015.
And then the different colors designate different construction sections.
Excuse me, Mike, those are different design sections. They generally will follow
generally
the construction
will follow
section.
construction
There may be some differences if bridges go into a different section, but generally, those are the design limits for the final designers, as Mike mentioned before.
Is your, I hope I'm not cutting anybody else off, but I just asking. Is your intent to just keep moving in that direction, or are you going to eventually start together?
Well, with this project, it's, unfortunately, there's no really good terminus to build a piece and open it up. So in this case, right now, what we're instructing the designers to do are to complete another section. What our intent right now is to build it as quickly as we can. So whatever comes available first from a design size, that's the next section that we'll do. So, I want you to realize you're going to have a section here and a section there, and they're not going to be connected. But because of the topography and the intersections with local roads, that's just the way it's going to work out. So in reality, you're probably not going to be able to actually utilize this till we get the entire thing complete. We're looking at tentatively 2019.
2019?
2019.
2020.
Yep.
For completion?
As a completion of the entire project. The final section interfaces with 79, we actually go under 79. We go completely under chapter 7. Yes, sir.
The exit that comes off down onto 980 onto Donaldson Road, was that moved further down? I understand it was moved further down.
No, it stays the same as identified in the environmental.
So it's coming straight down, so it'll be coming behind the farm there where the pond is.
Yeah.
And come right out
This
on the...
alignment, everything pretty much, there's very, very, very minor adjustments.
See, I was told when the surveyors were out there, they were moving it further down to Quicksilver.
So the interchange pretty much stays as...
Well, I'm talking about where it comes down onto 980.
Yes.
It's
In
still...
fact, we intersect with 980 in two different locations.
Right, but I'm talking about the one that comes down by
Dawn.
Donaldson Road. Originally, it was going to come right out onto Donaldson Road. Okay? Then there was a question years ago that the site, and then they discussed about moving it further down to Quicksilver. Now I understand what you're saying is it's still coming down onto Donaldson Road. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes.
I'm sorry, can you go back to the blasting area? What if you're filling, you're blasting an area, and then you're gonna take that and put it...
Yeah, right along, actually,
I couldn't see, it was over my head, sorry.
Yeah.
here's 22, the airport is in this direction. This area down in here, when we built this road, we stockpiled material over here, plus there's rock over here.
Okay, so this is the
This-
area that'll be blasted?
Yes, down here it'll be blasted, and this material will be taken up here, basically to build what's in blue, to bring that up, so that we can actually build an abutment over here to be elevated above 22.
Okay.
So the blasting is really confined to this area right here. You can see these are the homes that are affected over in this area right here, where the mousetrap is, and the several homes behind that. The other things that, we'll monitor are just our bridges out there. And the blasting contractor will actually have seismographs in places, at the location, so we can actually monitor if there's any disturbance in the ground when we do the blasting.
Is this land owned by the Turnpike Commission?
It is,
Okay.
yes. Yes, ma'am.
When you're done with the bridges going over, is that interchange basically going to stay the same?
Exactly the same, yeah, it's exactly the same. Basically, this is just going to have two bridges out there that, unfortunately, you just can't get to. They're not going to be utilized. But again, what this is about, this is about, we had to start someplace. And it took a long time to find the funding to actually complete this project. Fortunately, we found the funding, and that funding was provided partly by the Turnpike Commission, but also by the representatives that came out with a new transportation bill for Pennsylvania. So this transportation bill is going to provide, we're looking at roughly about $550 million worth of construction work to go in this area between 22 and 79. So it's going to generate, and that, having done this for about 30 years, that generates a lot of stimulus, not just to those contractors out there working and the employees out there that are providing the labor to do it, but any little restaurant that's out there, any little auto parts place that's out there. It's amazing how this filters out into the community. It really does enhance the community. Yes, sir.
I was wondering where the Gary farm is. Will it still be behind to the west of the Gary farm?
Again, I have to defer to Dave. I'm only building them. He designs them.
If you can make it on there, the alignment stays pretty much the same as it was back in 2010.
But it was on the west side, over the knoll?
It still stays at the same location.
Yeah, and then goes down to where the Bontour Trail is that crosses. How far west is it going to be from that intersection? From the bridge, the walking bridge?
I'm not aware of how far distance-wise. I just know that I can safely say that the alignment is very, very close to where it was in the...
Do you have any individual... could I have one, so I could superimpose it over?
Sure. After the meeting, I'll get you.
Yeah, great.
We don't want to take...
Okay.
Yes,
That's right.
I'll talk to you afterward.
We'd like to say thanks for having us come out. It's nice to meet you guys, and again, the contact sheet will be available for you. There are some handouts I'll leave for you that also have numbers to my boss, so if you have any problems, you can call him, and then I'll be responding.